Thank you, Deputy Speaker. 10 years ago, when I first ran as a candidate, I asked people in the Hawkesbury, what's the biggest problem you face? And what did they say? Traffic congestion. 10 years on, nothing has changed. We have two bridges, single lanes each way. One was built nearly 150 years ago and the other a much more recent 115 years ago. Yet the population has grown. Now sits at around 70,000 and new developments at Redbank and other subdivisions will continue to see growth on that side of the river. But we have the same 4 lanes to and from work, to hospital, to school and to our major centres. In 2010, when the then Minister for Infrastructure and I announced $20 million to do short-term improvements to alleviate some of the congestion at either end of Richmond Bridge, the local Liberals poo-pooed the idea. The then Liberal federal member for Macquarie had no view on it, and her state counterparts thought it wasn't needed. But Labor did provide that funding to the New South Wales government following the 2010 election. The study, finished in 2012, identified longer-term options, a duplication of Richmond Bridge, plus recommendations on $28 million of short-term measures to improve the traffic flow. So how has that worked out under the Liberals? Well, the New South Wales government has refused to provide any funding on top of the remaining $18 million federal Labor funding. And here it is, 2019, and the money that was announced and committed in 2010 is only just being spent. And we all know that the work being done is a drop in the ocean of what's needed, given the increased population across the river. The latest promise by the Liberals of a study on where the duplicated bridge might go, well, a few $1 million is all that's on the table, with no funding for construction in the offing. After 8 years of doing nothing at a state level, yes, they've had 8 years to address these problems in their safe Liberal seat, and now on the eve of an election, they suddenly notice there's a problem and say, trust us, we'll fix it. Well, you'll have to forgive me for being a bit cynical. We're really at a point where we need a series of measures to provide a long-term vision for how local traffic gets around our area and across our river, including in times of crisis like bushfires and flood threat. What we're seeing in Windsor is a shocking waste of taxpayer money. $100 million to construct 1 extra lane across the Hawkesbury, with no improvements to the flood-prone and single-lane roads either side of the bridge. A 2-lane bridge being replaced by a 3-lane bridge without contraflow. And that's aside from the fact that it's destroyed an economically significant heritage site. And you know what the Liberals will say at both a state and federal level? They'll boast about the improvements they've made. The only long-term solution for the terrible delays people face across the Hawkesbury is a 3rd crossing, one that bypasses our major centres.
I thank the member for Macquarie for her contribution and